Did somebody order a legend? He's on the stage, you can see him, he's in white. And he's up against Connor Scutt, who over the last year has had a very up and down time of it. When he first came to the tour a year ago, there was a lot of people who thought that maybe he could kick on. It hasn't quite happened yet, but he's still in the infancy of his pro career, up against someone who just doesn't stop turning up. He's got a lot of fans out in the Studio 36 arena, always smiling, and what a privilege this is for Connor Scutt to play against Beaton in the UK Open. 20 years removed from playing in the very first tournament, he's still here and has never missed this tournament, no matter what.
Yep, a complete legend of the game, Steve Beaton. 58 years old. No decline, though. I mean, we saw it in the Euro Tour in Kiel last weekend. He threw his biggest ever stage average in beating Adrian Lewis in round one. I think even Connor Scutt's a little bit starstruck in the presence of Steve Beaton, although he's had a year with him on the Pro Tour. So Steve Beaton, we expect good things from him. Connor Scutt, though, does have a very, very good A game. He's not really shown it often enough when he's been on the Pro Tour.
No, that's very fair to say it. I watched a lot of him before he got his tour card. I saw a lot of that 102 to 108 mark in best of 7 matches. But maybe that switch from playing a lot of best of 7 legs to best of 11 legs, it's a difficult switch because he plays so much more in the way of matches concurrently. He has had a slight change in equipment over the last year as well. He's gone to his own brand of darts, which aren't exactly the same as the previous ones, and that can have its own challenges. But just to paint a little bit of a picture for you, when Connor Scutt was born, Steve Beaton was already a world champion.
And here they are competing on a level footing for a place in round 4 of the UK Open. Steve Beaton's not had a great recent record in this tournament. He's lost his past 4 games, not since the last 16 of the 2019 edition, where he beat Dimitri van den Berg.
90.
Did reach the semi-finals of this tournament back in 2004.
It's ridiculous when you think about it.
59.
What were you doing in 2004, Dan?
You require
I'll have been in year 4 at school.
Oh my word!
And I'll have been watching my beloved Leeds United get relegated from the Premier League that season. That's how long ago it is.
Do you want to move on from saying relegation? 2004. I think I was working for the Royal Bank of Scotland.
You require 20.
Just dreaming about maybe playing Steve Beaton. He's still up there, and I'm in the commentary booth now.
The first leg. Connor Scutt, second leg.
But it's Connor that takes the lead. These guys aren't going to hang around, and neither
90.
are the last 2 people on the menu for the afternoon. Scott Williams and Jelle Klaassen. Things are going to get even quicker.
81.
First ever meeting between these two. Their paths haven't crossed on the Pro Tour yet.
80.
Could be a little bit daunting for Connor to play such a revered player for the first time in such a vast environment as well.
96.
Steve has played in every single room in this place over the course of the last 9 years. He played at Bolton, he played at the Marshall Arena, he's played everywhere. If he was told about playing in a new place
99.
in this tournament, he'll have just said, okay. Nothing bothers him.
Yep. Inverness, Steve. Yeah, okay. I'll do the drive up.
96.
He's someone who you love watching because you know he loves being there. He probably doesn't need to keep playing. He just wants to.
Correct. He still wants to. what he wants. Oh, well, that was an interesting play.
Gonna require
And that was an
129.
interesting last start that almost bust his score.
Well,
He's got double 16 now, but he really should have gone 20 bull.
he was proven right there. He basically turned around and said to Connor Scutt, "You're not taking out 129. I am taking out double 16."
Connor to throw first. Game on.
So let's grade Connor Scutt because he's played on the tour for over a year. He's obviously got a lot of talent.
21.
He's made one semi-final just over a year ago. He lost to Joe Cullen on a weekend where Joe Cullen did not lose because he won a double header. He's made 2 more quarterfinals and he's made 3 more last 16s, but they
34.
were at Q school, so they don't really count in my opinion. So in that regard,
100.
as someone from the outside, being an analyst and a commentator, Dan, do you think he has done well, or is he still learning, or has he come up short?
60.
I think he's still learning. I don't think he's looked out of place on the Pro Tour, whereas some will do when they get the tour cards. He can compete. We've seen him hit averages on the Pro Tour, 109. So there is a lot of talent there for Connor Scutt.
96.
I think maybe the semi-final that he made, which was very early in the year, may have clouded people's judgment, and they'll have thought, right, this guy's special, he's going to achieve big things. I suppose it's one of the worst things that can happen if you do get success too early. Maybe as he did. He needs the ball now.
43.
Well, if he does miss a target, it's usually low.
Steve, you require 108.
He got the line perfect there. Down for the 16s for Beaton with no success.
48.
And Connor will have a chance for another lead.
Connor, you require 47.
7 tops. Hit
27.
double 10.
Steve, you require
Those
60.
barrels of Scutt are very, very smooth. But are they as smooth as Steve Beaton?
Game shot.
Not on this occasion.
Stevie.
If there's anything as smooth
Black
as
Steve
Steve
to
Beaton,
throw first.
Michael Van Gerwen's head.
Game on.
I'd still say Steve Beaton's throw's smoother.
Well, there's one for social media. What's smoother, Michael Van Gerwen's head or Steve Beaton's throw? Certain questions that will never, ever have a logical answer.
Questions we'll continue to ask.
80.
I look at those darts that he throws and wonder how he can be so good, because there's no grip on them. There's a few
Sometimes
ridges,
it's the
but-
grip on the fingers that is the most important thing. Terry Jenkins had a smooth dart his whole career and he worked really well with them. But this equipment is all about the step. So that portion of the barrel, a centimetre from the top to about another 1.5 centimetres below, there's a definitive point there where he's gripping it.
The
And
concave
he's throwing
section.
against that piece of sharp tungsten in the middle. It's all about finger placement, and the thing about these darts is it actually reminds you every time where your fingers should be. It's a clever piece of kit, if it works. Now, we did see Christopher Holt playing this afternoon with some old Simon Whitlock darts, and fully enough, the darts that Connor had before these were the old Simon Whitlock darts. Same sort of thing. Taper to the nose, and he gets a hat stand dart there, one that doesn't count.
144.
He's been a little bit unfortunate so far. Connor Scutt with a bounce out and a hat stand. It's going to have to be the Ronnie O'Sullivan shot. 147. Not going to go.
95. Steve, you require 50.
Double 16.
Game
Well
shot,
found.
full flag. Stevie.
Beaton starting to
Flag
cruise.
Connor to throw first.
I don't know if he likes cruises. The only thing I'm reliably informed that he likes to cruise on is his motorbike. True story.
I'd have thought Steve Beaton would be more of a classic car man.
Nope, he's
He
not.
looks like he drives a Jag.
He hasn't got an E-type, that's what you mean. He's got, I forget what kind of bike he's got, but it's something that himself and his wife Nanette love to do. Cruise around the Norfolk Broads, after making sure that their fruit and vegetables that they grow at home are perfectly pruned and ready for harvest. Honestly, the Beaton lifestyle, it's a thing of dreams.
34.
Grow your own fruit and veg, throw a 106 average.
Retire
That's
whenever he wants.
a lovely combination. Tell you that Darius Labanauskas is one leg away from getting to round 4. He's 5-2 up on Neil Zonneveld. A few more matches just getting underway. Dylan Slevin against Robbie Knops, and 16-year-old Thomas Banks against Connor Heenahan, another impressive youngster. Adrian Lewis has well beaten Joe Mernon. 6-0 bageling of him on the main stage.
There are going to be some very relieved people in that draw tonight, and there will be some very confident people as well, one of them being Jim Williams. He's averaged 102 in beating Gian Van Veen, who himself averaged nearly 102. What a game that would have been out on board 4. What's Beaton doing with the 18s? We had to wait. The flight was in the way.
He had to get the definitive rust break call. One at Bull maybe for Scutt, or one at 7-7. We've seen this already today, and we've seen it again. Well played, Connor Scutt.
6 legs, Steve, the throw first. Game on.
One little bit of advice that I would give to Connor Scutt right now is be annoying. Just stick around. Give yourself a chance or two and see if Steve misses.
34.
And use that switch as much as you need it.
A few more results. Jeffrey Desvan, who we saw earlier on today, has beaten James Wilson in a last leg decider. And George Killington has beaten Mados Rasma by the same scoreline.
You talked about Danny Jansen as well, Dan. He's averaged 96.31 in beating Louis Williams to put himself in the hat for tonight. That's a great performance considering what we haven't seen from Danny over the last few months.
Yeah, way up on his seasonal average so far.
Some players need adrenaline, don't they? Maybe Danny Jansen's one of them. Not to be for Louis Williams this week. He's out before the draw.
99.
As are the likes of Jamie Hughes, Devon Peterson, Steve Lennon. Jeff Smith has been done by his countryman Matt Campbell. 6 legs to 1. Richard Veenstra, Graham Usher, James Wilson, all out.
104, Russ.
93. Our score was 104. Connie required 24. Game
Well,
time of 6
At least
leg.
Connor Scutt wasn't put off by that.
He wasn't,
7th leg, Connor to throw
but we have a
first.
level game with Scutt now throwing first. Are we getting into the portion of the game where Steve can flex his muscles? Or will Scutt start to use the fact that he's had a game today and Steve hasn't? He might be just a bit more in, as we say it.
Just a bit sharper, a bit more match practice.
I'll tell you one thing, Dan, I'm really, really fascinated to see, A, what games we get tonight on board 2 and what the atmosphere is going to be like tonight when everybody disperses around the UK Open complex.
44.
I think it may well depend on what matches are put on this board.
It's almost like now you've got 2 main stages. And obviously
82.
the Smiths and the Van Gerwins will be on the main stage, but there's more than enough players here to ensure that we're going to get some belting fixtures.
So if it's going to be 4 games per board, let's face facts, all the seeds can't play on the main stage. we could get some really big names tonight.
99.
And I don't think they'll be too insulted by the fact that they'll be put on board too, because this is a great place to play.
99.
We could get the Aspinalls, the Claytons, the Chris Dobies.
You might even get the Beatons or the Scutts.
20.
We still don't know who's going to win this match, and
Well,
we still won't know after this shot. But we'll know who's in the lead. It's not Steve Beaton.
It's not
just
Steve
yet.
Beaton.
Requires 71.
71 can be awkward. It might be one that leads to only one dart. 2 darts, actually. Double 10. Out for double 5.
61.
I said earlier he needed to be annoying. He has been, but he didn't take his chance. Steve doesn't take his.
Well, both of them have been annoying to themselves now.
That's a rangefinder.
No score.
That's a score buster.
You require 5.
That's a good single. That's a good double. And that's a break throw.
And next Steve to throw first.
Showing his class when it matters, Steve Beaton. That's why you see that little gold star on his collar. He's a world champion. And finishes like that are exactly why. He didn't panic. Looking at some of the fixtures that are going on now, here's a scenario that would be pretty entertaining.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Steve Beaton gets through. Richie Burnett gets through.
Now there's a game we'd have to have.
You could almost record it and put it out on VHS.
Oh, I'd buy it. Now, in no way, shape or form am I wishing ill on Connor Scutt, but we're very sentimental. And Connor is trying to break the hearts of some of the viewers on PDC TV who might be thinking about a 1996 rematch. What he wants is to carve a little piece of his own history. That's what every player wants to do. Dylan Slevin right now is doing a very good job against Robbie Knops. A job that's pretty good just like that.
This would be more than pretty good.
The expression's changed, hasn't it, since the start of the match. He's got the grip between his teeth. But the lead of 2 is now to Steve Beaton. Are we seeing what I said? This portion of the game where Beaton just shows that experience of best of 11 darts on the big stage. That is a great 2-leg blitz.
96.
Three words going through the mind of Steve right now.
65.
Get it done. Three words going through the mind of Connor Scutt. Don't go home.
140.
Everybody wants to go home, don't they? But when you're a professional dart player, they're 3 of the worst words in the world.
137.
Don't go home.
The words that are only good if you win the tournament. And a bit of rest now.
Just ask Dave Chisnell from last week.
98.
He'll have got home on Monday night from Kiel, trophy in hand, smile on face.
60. Connie, you require 167.
There's always a smile on Chizzy's face, even if he gets beaten round 1.
He's not going to get beaten round 1 of this tournament because he starts at round 4.
100.
May even see Dave Chisnell on this stage later.
95.
It's an interesting switch.
Connie, you require
Scutt to keep us
67.
going. Needs double 8. Oh, that's beautiful from Connor. Really good. In the past, I've seen him go treble 9 on that 67 shot, but seems to be a bit more flexible on the finishing these days.
The only time treble 9 he's ever aimed for is on that 67 shot. The only other time you hit it, it's an accident.
60.
Correct. How many legs are left in this match? 1 or 2?
Well, whatever the outcome, the player that wins will know they've been made to work pretty hard.
97.
Beaton currently averaging 85. Scutt up on that, 88.
One thing you will never get from Connor Scutt is a mathematical error. He is an elite counter and also an elite thinker. He can plot his route to finishes better than Beaton.
100.
But the problem he has is that Beaton's hit more trebles. Even though he's on 162, it doesn't matter.
Single 10. That's lovely.
30.
Connor Scutt is in the hopes and prayers part of the game now.
60. Steve, you require 32.
He needs more than that because Beaton has got his way through to the hat later. Great respect from Connor, but he bows out in round 3. Steve Beaton, question mark against his name, because A, we don't know who he's going to play later or how far he's going to go. Just imagine if he was to draw Richie Burnett now and get that 96 rematch. It's possible. We are going to have one more match on this stage though, and it's going to be a quick one. Scott Williams, ever entertaining against the 2006 champion from Lakeside, Jelle Klaassen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Adonic